as you all know, go-karts are amazing in virtual reality. But are Kart Kraft go-karts good in virtual reality? Let's find out in this video. Welcome back to the Game of Muscle YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's just wait for the anticipation to build. Let's go, go, go. There we go. So this VR update for Kart Kraft has been out for a while now. I've been a little bit slow to cover it, and this is literally my first time really playing it. We just got it set up. We were driving Kart Kraft for the first time last night on a live stream in 2D, and my God, guys, Kart Kraft has just been in constant development. You know, you have some early access games where, you know, they're in early access, nothing seems to happen. Kart Kraft is just improving and improving and improving. Obviously, the VR update is a fairly big improvement, but just the physics improvements that have come to it since the last time I played it a few months back, the general polish, the addition of AI to race against, absolutely phenomenal, exactly what you want to see from an early access title. But we're not here to talk about the physics, really. We're mostly here to talk about the VR. For those of you that are curious about VR, and, well, it's good news. It's good news because the VR works fantastic in this. On a technical level, I think one of the big worries a lot of us had, or a lot of us in the sim scene had, was Unreal Engine, when not using the forward renderer, when using the deferred renderer, the worry is that things don't look crisp and don't work well in VR. Well, Kart Kraft, for some reason, seems to get a good frame rate, looks pretty crisp. It's not the most crisp of games in VR. I've just put too much brake on there. It's not the most crisp of games in VR, but it's more than passable whilst also hitting a decent frame rate, which is more than I can say for some of the other sim titles using the Unreal Engine at this point in time. Also, before I talk about the actual experience of driving this in VR, which is amazing, also, all the menu stuff actually works pretty well in VR with you just using the enter button and gazing on the menus to then use your little laser cursor to select things. So all that works really quite nicely, even though this is the first VR version. You can tell it's you know, it's got some bugs in it, but they're sort of technical things that just need to be polished out. The actual general experience in VR, though, looks like it works pretty well as it is, and it looks like it'll only get better, just as everything else in Kart Kraft has. As I say, this is what should be going on with early access titles. The developer's doing a good job. Now, with that out of the way, VR and go-karts, guys. Where's the quadcopter gone? I don't know where that was. VR and go-karts. Oh, it's a match made in heaven. When you're in a go-kart on a screen, you can't get the experience right. You'll notice if you play Kart Kraft, on a screen, you kind of have to play it with a wider field of view to be able to see the steering wheel and what's going on around you, because everything's kind of scaled down a go-kart. And though it works and it's playable, it doesn't really make much sense. Like, the speed of everything just feels a bit off on the screen, and it's... I mean, you get a good sense of speed, but it feels like you're going warp 10 in the Starship Enterprise rather than driving a go-kart through a small circuit. Kart Kraft is amazing in 2D, but it just seems a little bit off. When you play this in a VR headset, everything just lines up so much better. It actually makes the karts feel a little bit calmer. In 2D, the karts seem overactive. They seem a bit overly snappy. I still think they are a little bit overly snappy, even in VR. But VR makes things come together a lot more, makes things seem a lot more natural, because you are kind of experiencing a go-kart as you would in real life. And a fundamental thing with the go-kart driving is also just being able to look around you and have the visibility, be able to see where your wheels are on the circuit, what's going on around you if you're driving into people, which I probably will be. So all the aspects of what VR brings to a driving simulator, being able to look into the apex there, into the corner, on these what are very tight circuits, because it's a go-kart track, all the little nuances of what you get from a VR with the VR head tracking and the 3D and the field of view and everything, it all just comes together with go-karts, and it all comes together really well with Kart Kraft. It's absolutely phenomenal, guys. This is such a good game, and such a good game in VR. Hello. Just I can see my legs, I can see my throttle pedal moving, I can see the brake pedal moving when I push that. All the stuff that, just the subtleties that you get from VR with the driving game are magnified with go-karts and with this with Kart Kraft in VR at the moment. Oh, let them battle, we'll pass them, thank you, goodbye. And oh dear, I mean, if you've got an Oculus Rift or a Vive or a VR headset, one of the mixed reality headsets, I'm going to say you kind of have to experience this. This is a really good game to get. It's not a expensive title. You do only get 3 tracks at the moment, but I think it's at a point now, having thought about it. Whoa, confetti cannons! It's at a point now where you actually, especially if you're going to be driving in VR, maybe not if you're driving in 2D, you might want to wait for it to finish off, but if you're driving in VR, this is absolutely spectacular. I'm going to do another race here. Okay, I've put another opponent on here, and it's worth saying it does require a bit of a beastie computer to run at the moment, and the more people you add to the race, the slower things get. I don't think it's really had its, there's quite a lot of optimization to go, especially when it comes to the AI opponents and how much they slow things down. But relative to the actual visual quality of the road circuit and these laser scan tracks and just all the details that are going on, I have to say it actually runs pretty decent for the most part, and it's only going to get better, I assume, as things are worked on. It's an early access title. But you just really, as we always say in VR, you can really appreciate the track details, the textures, all the little stuff that's going on. I mean, look at the detail of the opponent go-karts with a little, everything animated on them, the feet, the brake, the accelerator, the head movements. They look at you as you go next to them and give you a bit of stank eye. Look, he's looking at the inside because he thinks I'm going to make a move. I'm not because I'm too slow. He's having a little gander to the left there. Watch out, Boris, we're coming for you. The curbing just looks phenomenal. I mean, one of the nice things with VR and go-karts with VR is that go-kart's so close to the ground that it kind of makes up for the sort of view distance or the pixel limitations of VR. Everything's happening at a much closer range with a go-kart than a full-size car, so you're not having to look 200, 300 meters into the distance like you do with other simulators. A lot of the stuff's happening with this sort of a 10, 15 meter range, where the VR headsets, granted, could still have better quality, but the quality's not too terrible. I've got to get a pass here. We've got to get this. But I mean, man, like I was really hoping that this would actually end up being good, and in VR especially, and it is. I really can't wait for this to have the multiplayer support in it, because this is going to be absolutely phenomenal, racing against people in VR on these laser scan tight circuits, trying to get the victories in. And the developer was saying in our live stream that they're likely to have the head tracked from the VR, and that might already be in the game. You just obviously can't see it because it's single player at the moment. So when you're looking at people, you'll be able to see their heads looking at you and stuff. But it's so cool. It's just little stuff like that adds to the immersion. It's kind of pointless, but it really does add to the immersion. Oh, give me a little bit of a poke there. Oh, he's nodding his head at me. Oh, we're going to have to learn some semaphore head movement communication for the multiplayer if we do have that head tracking in it. We should be able to duck down as well, and that'll affect the aero. All the subtle stuff that you just... This kind of thing doesn't really work in go-kart sims normally with other go-kart titles, and it seems like Kart Kraft is going to be one of the first go-kart titles that really potentially offers the whole package. The only thing that it seems likely to me that we're lacking in is the I don't know what their policy is on modding, because at the moment there's only 3 tracks in it. They're really nice tracks. I think they're going to add a 4th. The developer said they're going to be adding more circuits to it. But really, maybe like modding is needed to just get those numbers of circuits up. But other than that, so good for an early access title that, as I keep saying, the developer has really kept working on. We've had some early access titles, no names, some early access titles recently where you're just like, what you doing, mate? What's going on? Hot air balloon. You know it's a modern driving game because it's got a hot air balloon in it. Oh, come on, we've got to get the victory in here. You can see the little Motec display as well. on the wheel without any HUD or anything. The little Motec display in VR is perfectly legible with the Oculus Rift here. It is proper immersive. I just surprising. Well, perhaps not surprising, but go-karts and VR really do go hand in hand. They really do work together fantastically. Is this the last lap? I don't know. We've got one more lap. Last lap, there you go. Lap 5 on the little Motec display. Oh dear. Who needs a heads-up display, guys, when you can just use the real display that's on the go-kart? Magical virtual reality. That's how it works. Get the pass in. Look at this. PFI as a circuit as well is a really good track. I've never been here in real life. I would really like to do a direct comparison with the real go-karts and the simulator. Someone's going to do it. They're going to beat me to the punch. I don't think I'm not very near this circuit, unfortunately. Oh, come on, poke it round. And yeah, I mean, the handling as well has improved massively since the other versions of this, with things calming down. The go-karts do flip a bit too easy at the moment, and they are, I'd say they're a little bit too overactive in some ways. So there's still improvement to be made in the physics. I think the force feedback as well could be a little bit more detailed in some circumstances. Whoa! Happy wedding, happy go-kart wedding. Yeah, I think there's improvement to be made in the physics, in the handling, in the force feedback, and more features and everything. But it's an early access title, but everything they have worked on so far is great, really. It's just progressed as you would want an early access title to progress. I'm super hyped for the future updates. A really good place to go for the future updates and to keep in the loop for Kart Kraft is the Kart Kraft Discord, which I'll put in the description for this video so you can see it there. We're going to be covering this more as they roll more stuff out, as they roll it out on the go-kart. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I don't want it to ramble on too long, so we're going to end it there. Get on our live streams where we'll be doing some more of this. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Don't forget to give us a like. And there you go, Kart Kraft. The surprise so far of this year, I have to say. Kart Kraft surprise. Goodbye, everybody.